subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
Hey. What's going on, man? What's going on? What's up? What's up? Round of applause to you. Bam. We're in here. Tariq, and we're ready for the tap in with the family. How y'all doing? Glad to have everybody in here. And we're ready to chop it up like we always do. First things first, I'm going to ask that everybody give me a retweet. That would be great. Everybody give me a retweet. And you know how I got to get it started. Let me start shouting out some of the regulars. I'm going to go down far in the queue. Okay, let me go down far in the queue and start shouting out the regulars. Much respect to everybody. Let me see who we got in here so far, ladies and gentlemen. We have, hold on, let me bear with me for a second. Let me get it because we do have a lot of people in here. A lot of people in here very quickly. A lot of people in here very fast. Let me see. We have Lonnie, we have J Mac, we got Chief J, by all means, AC, Kiana, Seneca, Shallow, Ivy World, Reba, Panamera, Zuri Ali, TY from NT666, Kale, Obsidian, Kevin Smith. We have Jess. We have FBA Trey Day, FBA Lamont. We have Tiara Dynamite. What's up, Tiara? We have Lex, the lovely Lex in here. We have C. Terry, Fufa Fua Sweets. We got Ty Powell. We got Real Tamara. We got Brother Arthur, Brother McCall, Sister Brooke, Brother Arnez. We got Mentionaire. That's a new face, but we got the Tethinator in here. So shout out to everybody for tuning in. All right. And we're going to get some of the calls early. So you guys, if you want to get in on the call-in queue, send a request now. But what I want to talk about, I want to talk about this Diddy case. Have y'all been keeping up with the Diddy case? Have you guys been watching what's been going down with the Diddy case? They've been having Cassie, Diddy's ex, on the stand, and very interesting things coming out with Cassie. Some of the testimony is it's very, very insane. A lot of freaky stuff going on with Cassie and Diddy. There was something about how Cassie would get bust down by different dudes, and dudes would, quote, finish on her. And I'm trying to not be too graphic, but y'all hear that part where the dude would bust on Cassie? Some hired dude would bust on her, and then Diddy would want that rubbed on him. Oh man, it's some stuff going on. It's some stuff going on. Yeah, they were freaking off for real, for real. Now they've been pulling up text messages showing Cassie pretty much being very complicit in all of this stuff. Cassie was talking about how, yeah, she's ready to freak off and she's going to have her legs behind her head. And she's talking about some big black D and big black dick. Hey, man, it sounded like some race play going on in there. And there was one text message where Diddy kind of was getting permission, like he wanted her permission to have a freak off. So this is not no trafficking. This isn't a trafficking case. This ain't no sex trafficking. All right? Let's be very real. This is not a sex trafficking situation. Hopefully Diddy gets out of this thing because regardless of what people feel about Diddy personally, the law is the law. I don't believe in reinterpreting the law based on race because that's what a lot of people in the dominant society do. The feds, they do that. Yeah, you have a law and people do certain things and it's legal, But then when a black person does it, then all of a sudden it's a RICO. I'm not co-signing that because Diddy was just being a damn freak. Him and his chick were freaky. She was in on it. They were just freaky. It wasn't no coercion. They're talking all of this coercion stuff. No, that woman, according to some of the texts and everything, and plus with Cassie, she was with Ryan Leslie first. Producer Ryan Leslie. She was with him first, and Diddy took her from him, and Ryan Leslie, did some production for Diddy. So she was a flip. Cassie was getting tossed around from the get-go. That was part of the game here. So all of this coercion talk, nah. No, Cassie seemed like she really had a hankering for drugs and dick. Maybe people just like drugs and dick. See, the coercion thing will work if you're not an adult, if you had some type of mental deficiency or whatever. But this whole thing about coercion, nah, not only is it not coercion, a lot of people are wondering how come Cassie, based on some of these tweets, not tweets, but text messages and certain things she was involved in, why in the hell did she not get included in the damn RICO? If you look at all of the stuff that was going on, the drugs and all of the sex parties, according to the text messages, she was requesting that stuff. Remember part of the testimony the other day, the male escort who they would get in, she was requesting that she get peed on by the dude. She wanted a golden shower. She requested it. You see? Where's the coercion? Oh, she was vulnerable. No, this is a grown ass woman. No, you don't talk people, you don't trick nobody and mentally flip them in order for them to want to be peed on. They gotta want pee. Yeah, if you don't want to be peed on, you won't be peed on. Yeah. But let's look at this thing. How the hell is she not in the damn RICO? Because she seems like she was calling a lot of shots in this thing. All of this thing where they're trying to make her out to be like, oh, she was just a victim who was just afraid to leave. Oh God, she was stuck in a dungeon or something. No. Maybe she liked the money, the lifestyle, the dick, the drugs. Maybe she liked it. That's what it looked like. Yeah, you don't stick around for 11 years, 10 or 11 years. Come on now. Hold on. Duchess. Let's get Duchess in here. Duchess, hop on. We got a white woman. She popped up in here real fast. What's up, Duchess? Hop in, ma'am. Duchess, you got something to say?
Yeah. Hi, sir. Good evening. Um, Thank you for having me,
Oh,
first of all.
yes, indeed. Now, Duchess, where are you from again? I always forget.
Well, I've been here for like over like 2 decades. I still haven't been able to get over my accent.
Right.
I do speak 4 languages. But I was born in Armenia. I'm
Okay.
proud of it.
I didn't catch the last thing you said. You were born in Armenia and what?
I'm proud of it, and
Okay,
I
there you go.
I know you don't have the best things to say about Armenia, but it's okay.
When have I ever said anything bad about Armenia?
Well, once, it doesn't matter. I mean, first of all, I don't take it personal,
What
nor
did I
do
say? What did I say?
you said, oh, the Armenians, there's like underground black mafia or dark mafia, and whatever, it's fine.
That wasn't about Armenia, the country. That's about the Armenians. Well, here I know them. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
telling you. I'm
and
telling you from
you,
my experience. Yeah, I know Armenians in the streets.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're right, they do exist. I know them.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And many of them were the plug. They had connections on a lot of underworld stuff. Right?
Yes, sir, and that's right. That's why I never like fought you back on it. But
Right, right. 'Cause, yeah, I ain't making it up. The
yeah,
Armenians be having the damn hookup now. You know that. If you need
no,
anything, you better find an Armenian. They got the
Yeah, and
hookup.
that's why, like, the black people, they stay away from the Armenians. They're smart, I gotta give it to them. But like we were talking about Didi, right? So I
Yeah.
want to stay on topic and be respectful.
Okay.
But like the powers to be, what they're doing to Didi, and what about what they did to Michael Jackson and Tupac, and what they're doing to Kanye West? For example, his latest song, just because he put the N word and Heil Hitler, he's getting so much flashback about it.
Hmm.
I was just wondering what your thoughts were about it. And I really thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dutch. Okay, I'll get on that later. That's kind of talking about Kanye. Yeah, Kanye's crazy as cat shit. That's my take. So, but again, let me get back to the Cassie thing. I'm thinking she's going to chime in about Cassie. Listen, if I'm on a subject, I mean, don't okay, all right. I kind of make your comments applicable to what the subject is. All right. You just kind of mess the flow up. I'm thinking you're going to add to the conversation. Come on now. But listen, like I said about Cassie, she's very complicit in a lot of this stuff. Yeah. This whole thing where she's trafficked, that woman wasn't no damn traffic. She wasn't trafficked, nothing. This woman damn near begging for dick. You're like, yeah, when is the next free call party? Oh, I'm ready. And some of these fools are, oh, she was just scared. She wasn't that damn scared. She could have bounced. Yeah, you could have bounced. And them looping that video of Diddy jumping on her in 2016, they're trying to loop that over and over again. The feds are making the media do that so it can give the impression that, oh, she tried to leave, but oh, Diddy stopped her from leaving. No, from what people are saying, there was some kind of valuables taken in that case, and that's not to justify it. And also, I think the lawyers are saying that because they were talking about drug use, and them lawyers are on it. Diddy's lawyers are they're hitting threes. They're like, yeah, it was some drug use, and in fact, when he was on the video kicking Cassie, he was coming down on drugs. So yeah, it was the drugs doing that. So they didn't flip that. So they're using all of that stuff to their advantage. Yeah, but it man, when you look at this shit, Cassie was like Gasoline Maxwell, how she was to Epstein. If we're going to go that route, because people keep trying to compare Diddy to Epstein, well, Cassie was Gasoline Maxwell. If that's the case, because she seemed like she was organizing a lot of this shit and putting it together, and she's making a lot of requests. This ain't nobody who's trafficked and who's helpless and afraid, and she's getting her coochie toe up, and it sounds like she liking it. Yeah. Then she said one thing, she got sexually assaulted by Diddy and then went back and had more sexual relations with it. Man, come on, dude. Listen, how did what how now let's look at this thing. How did she not get put in the RICO charge? Huh? Was this a case that the feds wanted to do a criminal charge all along? Did they go to her initially and say, "Hey, we need you to file a civil suit so that can open the door for us"? And they gave her immunity? This is a question. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying. Something is up. Did they go to her first and make some kind of deal for her to get that to do that civil trial, to do that civil thing? Because see, the civil suit is basically a setup for the criminal prosecution. See, that civil lawsuit, that looked like a covert strategic move orchestrated by the feds. On the surface, yeah, to get money, but yeah, if you can open up that door, you can go ahead and get the criminal charges in. Did the feds reframe Cassie from participant to victim by design. Despite her participations in these freak offs and all the drug use and all of these illegal things, or the drug use is illegal. Yeah, right. But he's not charged for drugs. Huh? What's going on with this thing? Yeah, this white boy who she got with, what's up with him? Who is he? Who is he connected with? Did he put a battery in her back? What's going on? What's happening with that? Let me get DJ Genesis in the building. DJ, because yeah, we got to ask some questions here. Because yeah, all the evidence showing that she was very willing for all this stuff. So the feds reframing this, that allows a cleaner narrative of victimization and public sympathy and courtroom optics. Because yeah, showing her as a participant, they're like, oh no, no, that might not fly. But showing her as a victim of Diddy, that will fly. So Cassie, you better play ball, or we can put you in one of these RICOs too. So we need you to be a victim. Huh? Because see, she possesses key evidence that the feds needed. See, Cassie then turned over photos, videos. She done turned over text messages, location data. She turned over a lot of stuff the feds probably couldn't get any other way. You see, so the feds, they generally protect the person who can quote unquote open the vault, so to speak, even if that person is legally culpable. Yeah. But the feds, they wanted a narrative that would simplify the case. Having Cassie in the RICO, that would have, that kind of would have complicated a lot of stuff. So they need streamlined narratives for juries, you know, and she's a high profile victim. It would be better for them to make her a high profile victim. And hell, she could have been an informant for a minute. Who knows? She might have been working with the feds behind the scenes for a minute. Who knows? Or her dude. What's this guy's deal? Huh? DJ, what's your DJ Genesis? Hop on, dear.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing, love?
Hey, so I have a few people that are there for me to report back to me what's going on. And from what they're saying is that like the prosecution in the beginning have already been able to, at least on the one charge of kidnapping, been able to kind of prove their point on that. The fact that he dragged her back into the hotel, because they said that he played that video about 5 or 6 times on a 65-inch screen, right?
Mm,
They keep playing that video over and over again in the very beginning.
yeah.
So he's dragging her back into the room. She's trying to leave. That's kidnapping. So even if they don't get him on any other charge, if that kidnapping probably might stick. Also, arson. There's like the whole thing about blowing up the Kid
Blown up.
Cudi's car.
Right.
So even if they don't get the whole RICO charge, if they just get 2 charges, it only takes about 2. But it only talks also about one person to disagree with all of that. But from what I hear, that they have 5 white men on the thing. 3 white men, 1 Middle Eastern, and like 2 black men on the jury, and then like 2 white women or some kind of crazy weird thing. Like there's no black women on the jury.
And I wonder where the 2 black people are from. Yeah. I wonder where
Yeah,
they're from. Because
exactly.
yeah. Good looking out. That good information, beloved. Yeah. Those 2 quote black people. Yeah. In the Middle Eastern, we already know that. That means what? It's 5 white guys in the Middle Eastern. That's 6 white guys. All right. Just understand that. That's 6 white guys. And how many else did she say? Hold on. Let me get Gia Monet in the building. It was 5 white guys, 1 Middle Eastern. I forgot the other one she said. Gia Monet, what's up, beloved?
Hi, Tariq. So one of the things I was looking at, I don't know if you got a chance to talk about it, but as I understand it, if he is found guilty with RICO, that means civilly he can be liable for treble damages, meaning that he can be sued 3 times civilly.
Wow.
In addition to that, I believe too, if I was looking
Hey,
at the
hey, hey.
bankruptcy.
Matt,
This is
Matt,
misinformation.
Matt, this sister was talking, dude. Did you hear her talking?
No, sorry. I must have
Slow
spoke
down,
over
slow
her.
down, slow down. Mute your mic. I'll
All
get you
right,
in a
my
sec.
B, my B.
Okay, go ahead, Gia.
So, in addition to that, as I understand the bankruptcy, and then also with that governor there in New York, which then changes the statute of limitations for more people to go after him, that by making the damages 3 times, that really puts him on a fast track to bankruptcy. And
Yeah.
if he's under bankruptcy, then basically all of his copyrights, all of his trademarking is now, he would then have to surrender that in all types of ownership. So I'm
Mm.
curious if that's like an angle in terms of the way that they're choosing, like strategically to go at it. But as I understand it, that's basically the financial position that it puts him in. And I believe he still has his residency in California, which since it's not in Texas or Florida, then all of his property, he then basically foregoes homestead.
Mm.
So that's like another thing
Guys,
to kind of
guys,
look at it
guys.
financially. So I
Let
was
me
just
let me
curious of
tell
what
you
you
this
thought
from the
about that.
white Jew boy point of view.
Okay,
All right,
thank you, man. Okay, thank
the
you.
white Jew boy is gonna let you
Hold.
know what's really happening. All
Okay,
right,
Matt.
nothing's gonna happen. His shit's owned in the Cayman Islands.
Matt, you gotta slow down. You would. Hey, listen.
It's in the Cayman Islands. Good luck suing.
Hold on, man. You don't. This sister was talking. We had a very intelligent sister bringing us some good information, and you started talking over her. You don't do that shit. That's very disrespectful to her, disrespectful to me. You don't do that, Matt. All right? The sister's saying some real stuff, and you coming in here mayo babbling. All right, I brought you up, and I didn't know you were gonna start mayo babbling. Y'all suspected white supremacists don't come in here with that slumming. Y'all want to come around black folks drunk and high, put the damn meth down. All right, we don't do that here. This ain't one of those spaces where you can slum around. All right. But my thing is, and Sister Gia brought up a very good point. Yeah, they're trying to get at that money, get at his finances, get at his assets. So all of his catalog, yeah, he'll have to forfeit that stuff in a bankruptcy. Yeah, so yeah, they're trying to get that big catalog. He has an extensive catalog. That catalog is worth the Bad Boy catalog, that's worth billions. That's worth billions. So yeah, they going for it. This case is weak. It's a very weak case, but they're throwing so much at it. They've reinterpreted the law. There's nothing about trafficking in this, but they're trying to reinterpret what trafficking is. It's a one-man operation, just having freaky sex translates into trafficking. No. And all of this talk about coercion. No, you're talking about consenting adults. And another thing, see, they're using a lot of these racist buzzwords. All yeah, family, do y'all know that whole coercion talk? They've been doing that for on black people for years. I want y'all to understand something. See, even these RICO charges like the Mann Act and all of that, which is what they got R. Kelly with, these were laws. It's technically called the White Slave Trafficking Act, and I've talked about that before. They've always used these racialized laws. They used that law to get Jack Johnson, that if you take a person over state lines for immoral purposes, that's going to be a federal charge. They created that law for Jack Johnson. They created it for Jack Johnson because he was running around with all them white women. So they made up a law specifically to get him. And also what they were doing, you had a lot of white women who were immigrants coming over here from Europe. They were living in places like Chicago, New York, and a lot of these northern cities, and they were choosing black pimps at the time too. The early 1900s, a lot of them white women were choosing on black pimps. They were getting into sex work and they would have black pimps. So they wanted to, that's why they call it the White Slave Trafficking Act. They were giving the narrative that these pimps were using mystical charm power to seduce these white women and turn them into sex slaves. And that whole seduction, coercion thing, they've been putting that on us for the longest, family. That's been a thing that they've been throwing on black people for centuries, actually, going back into slavery. And they've done this on black men and black women. They've done this for black men and black women. Um, During slavery, they would demonize our spiritual system. See, the European colonizers and slave owners, any type of spiritual system that we practice, oh, that's witchcraft. Oh, that's voodoo. Hell, let's go back to the 1600s, the Salem witch trial. The white women who they burned at the stake and all of that stuff, they blamed a black woman. It was a sister named Tituba, who was an indigenous foundational black American woman who was native. She was an aboriginal here, but she was enslaved. And she was the one teaching them hoodoo and certain spells. So they were on that. Oh, that black woman, oh, Tituba um taught them white women how to be enchantresses, and they were on that. I'm talking about all the way back in the 1600s. So they would always trip out with the hoodoo and the voodoo that we practiced, and they would criminalize it to a certain degree. They always had this thing about us. There was a sister down in New Orleans, Marie Laveau, very famous. They were scared of that woman. They were terrified of Marie Laveau because she was putting bammies on their ass. She was putting hexes and shit on white people down there. So they didn't mess with her. They even gave her money annually so she wouldn't put a whammy bammy on their ass. But they've always had this thing about us um, using some type of mental power on them. That whole the Jezebel enchantress stereotype. There was a black woman in the early 1900s named Hannah Elias, and many of you heard me talk about her. This woman, she was like one of the first black women millionaires before Madam C.J. Walker. Hannah Elias was getting money out of white dudes. She was getting white dudes to just clean their bank accounts out for her ass. She was a black woman living in New York on Park Avenue, had a mansion, had Asian servants and shit. She was one of the people actually who made Harlem black. She bought some real estate and she was working with some black real estate developers. And she and that real estate developer, they were the ones who got them white folks up out of Harlem and started getting the black folks in. It was Hannah Elias. She was a hustler. A lot of folks don't like to talk about her in history, but it was a very sensational case at the time. And this woman was sitting on millions of dollars in the early 1900s. And in the court, when they took her to court, because they were like, "Hey, she's finessing," because the family of some of the white men she was getting money from, they were like, "Hey, man, we got to do something." They were like, "Shit, this woman, she's practicing voodoo. She's a voodoo priestess. She's an enchantress." They were using all of those words. They were like, "Yeah, she didn't use some of that Negro mind spirituality on our father." They're like, "No, we can't really prove that." So she got to keep her bread. But that whole thing, that's why white women don't like a fly black woman around. That's another thing because they think real attractive black women got them powers. They got enchantress powers. That's why white women love a big old mammy around. They love a big back, um, buttermilk eating mammy around. They don't want no fly one around. They're like, oh, she's going to use her body and her mind on these white men, which they do in a certain degree. But yeah, even with Sally Heming, she was a victim of Thomas Jefferson, but in some of the historical narratives, they were like she was on some bewitched enchantress type of thing. She seduced Thomas Jefferson, that whole thing. So yeah, there's that fear of the sexual alluring black body. There's always been this anxiety about supernatural sexual power of black people. That's why they always think about our dicks and genitals all the time. They sit up with the white supremacists sitting up worrying about our penises all the time and black women's asses. They sit up and just obsess over that, even now. You see? See, when black people were desired and admired, it was never seen as agency on the part of the non-black person. It was always a mind control. It was always a lust spell. It was voodoo sex. And also, we have the root workers, and the white supremacists were always afraid of the root workers because they knew how to tap into the energy of the earth and the plants and nature. And uh, that created a fear and a mythology around black people having dark mystical powers, especially over non-black people or non-foundational black American people. And the thing is, because foundational black Americans, we are so influential, they had to start criminalizing our black influence through supernatural claims. So anytime a black person had power or success that couldn't be logically explained, if we had wealth, charisma, leadership, they always attribute it to trickery, magic, manipulation. Yeah. So that's why they use in court words like coercion, control, manipulating. See, when it comes to black defendants. Now they don't say that about Hugh Hefner. All right. When Hugh Hefner had orgies for like 5 decades at the Playboy Mansion. It was infamous for sex parties and orgies. And us out here in LA, we've heard a lot of weird shit that didn't happen in that Playboy Mansion. You're not going to have celebrities from 5 decades running in and out of that damn Playboy Mansion, and you're not going to hear nothing crazy. They know it's a lot of shenanigans happen up in there, and a lot of the women have been complaining, but they brushed them under the rug. A lot of those girlfriends that Hugh Hefner had, yeah, a lot of them women were looking crazy and manipulated, but they never portrayed him as that. They let that man die peaceful with no smut on his name. Yeah. But Diddy, he's having freak off parties with consensual adults, and now it's coercion. He used his Negro voodoo. Yeah. But yeah, they've always portrayed that on us. If you look at in the courts in the 1800s, 1900s, they would use terms like hypnosis, occult influence, mind control to accuse, black people of manipulating white society. They've always done that. Even now, family, when we have the delineation movement and everybody's, pretty much on code with it, what do the feds send people to say? Oh, this is a cult. You niggas were manipulated. Oh, this is a cult. Right? Anything black people do that's constructive, they try to act like there's something supernatural, there's some type of manipulation or mind control involved. Yeah. Whenever you hear people talk about cult, you understand that's Fed talk. Anytime you hear people talking about you FBA niggas are a cult, that's Fed talk. Those are Fed words.